These are the 5 things you should consider before going into the trades to figure out if it's a good career path for you. Number 5 is the most important, but we're going to save it to the end because every single step builds on the other one. So number 1 is going to be pretty obvious, but it's like, are you mechanically inclined? And that doesn't mean you have to be good mechanically. You don't have to know how things work. It just means generally, are you curious about how things work? If you're going to be in a building, are you going to be looking to try and figure out how the building is built? Are you like interested in that kind of stuff, right? Because obviously you don't have to be, but if you have a natural inclination toward looking around and trying to put the pieces together in your head, that's going to actually give you such a huge advantage, because a lot of guys, they just are in it because like they have no other option, and you're going to get way ahead of the competition by actually paying attention and having a good attitude because you actually like care about what's going on. So number 2 is which trade you're going to go into, because you actually want to figure out what your strengths are and play to your strengths. If you're the kind of guy that has a lot of physical understanding, spatial awareness, like understanding how things might fit together in your head, that's going to be a way better application for something like carpentry, where you're working with things that are in the physical world. If you're better at sitting and troubleshooting and thinking, you might be better as an electrician or a diagnostics technician for big motors, or being a diagnostics technician for plumbing, or being a diagnostics technician for HVAC. Those are the kinds of trades that will lend themselves to higher order thinking or higher order visualization, and that's what you want to consider when you're choosing and you're trying to figure out where and which path to take. So now we're on to number 3, and number 3 is, how well do you work? Where do you work best? Do you need to eat lunch? These things are important because when you enter into the trades, you're not entering into a sterile HR work environment. You're entering into like the shittiest work environment in history. These are like, imagine you're in the trenches going to war, but then throw on maybe 30% less horrific injuries and 30% less chaos. That's basically a construction site for you. There's little to no law and order, little to no one going to come to protect you. So you have to figure out what works for you, and you have to stand up for yourself. No one's coming to help you. If you complain to the people around you, they're going to tell you to shut up. They're not coming to cater to your needs. They're not coming to put band-aids on your scratches. If your injury is not severe enough that you have to go to the hospital, you're going to keep working, and you're going to keep working for the rest of the day. And most people are not going to stop and try and accommodate you. You have to speak up for what you need and just demand that you're treated properly. So what you have to think about is, what is going to be best for you on the job site? Are you going to work best when you get there at 8 and then you work for 4 hours and then you take a break and then whatever it is, you have to consider that before you go in. You have to figure out what is going to be conducive to your day being the least miserable possible, because it's going to be miserable no matter what for the first little bit, but you want to minimize the amount of miserable that comes from you feeling like, like I'm not being taken care of, or that you're in a bad position. And most of the miserable, you want it to just come from, I have to do this annoying work that's like physically demanding and just muddy and dirty. But that's fine, right? Because if you have a decent workflow set up, you will set into the day-to-day. But if you have a shitty workflow set up, you're going to just be miserable no matter what, even if the work, it gets, more and more familiar. So that's going to be number 3. On our way to number 4, we're going to take a little break. We're going to take a little boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we're going to hit a little rap. This is your little treat. Hey, we building the houses. Yeah, we making the mountains. Yeah, we making deposits. Yeah, too many counties. Cause I've been running it up. Yeah, my account be running like it was a cut. Hey, so many waves, making it rain like it was a flood. Yeah, making it rain. No, these not ones, these are hundreds. We got a bunch of them. I don't really know what you say, but it's all hunch. I'm done. I don't know what you come from, but I'm doing what I want every day. That's how I do it. Okay, right in at number 4 now, off of that crazy freestyle. So number 4 is the safety factor. You want to make sure that you are considering the safety risks about each individual trade that you're thinking about going into. So let's say, for example, if you're looking at something like heavy machinery operation, you got to consider, okay, how much is the likelihood that something could go seriously wrong and, your life could be changed forever? Now, that's not to be saying that it's likely, but what I mean to say is you want to be careful careful. You want to understand what you're getting yourself into, because the more that you're educated, the more that you're aware, the more that you're going to have the tools and the awareness to properly make accommodations to prevent bad things from happening. The main reason that things go wrong on a job site is because of ignorance. It's not really actually because anybody is doing anything intentionally. It's actually ego. When I mean ego, what I mean is the laziness and carelessness and the attitude of, oh, well, whatever, we're just going to get the job done by any means, that ends up leading to people getting hurt. So as long as you are very cautious about that and are very proactive about your safety, that's going to mean that you're definitely going to have a much lower risk of getting injured, especially if you choose our trade that's going to be less risky, something where your feet are almost always on the ground and there's little to no danger of being hurt by large heavy items that you're moving around or other kinds of things like that. Basically, if it's heavier than your body weight and you're working with it, that's when you're going to be in the most danger, rather than, like, let's say if you're lifting something smaller, there's not as much danger associated with that. All right, so that's number 4. Let's take a look at number 5, which is also the most important one, and that's going to be, are you a business-minded person or are you an employee-minded person? Because that's going to make up the drastic difference between the way your career will go and which trade and how you can operate. Are you going to go into the union, or are you going to go into the regular side of the trades? Now, if you are just looking for steady work and you're just looking to get by, you're not really interested in living the craziest life you can. If you just want something simple, go with the union option. You can make good money, you can have a great package, you can have a great retirement, all that will work out for you. But you're kind of limited to what the union is willing to do. So your acceleration is very slow. You're going to have to grind your way to the top. However, if you are interested in doing things a little bit faster, a little bit more risky, a little bit less safety net, then you can go your own way. You can go and you can just get a regular job with a regular company, no union, no pension, no regulation, and that's going to give you way more freedom. You can just be licensed, and if you get your license or your red seal or whatever it is that you need in order to operate, you can start your own company. You can do basically whatever you want. You can work your way up to working by yourself as fast as your boss is willing to let you, and you can ping pong back and forth between different companies, and that's going to be able to give you a crazy head start if you find a company that will allow you to grow and give you the tools that are needed to keep progressing. The problem with this is always going to be the extra associated risk. If you're out on your own with no union, you're running bigger risks on, if you're injured, does your employer have proper insurance? Does your employer have proper sick leave? Is there an HR department? Like 80% of trades companies are companies that are 5 employees or less, which means you're going to be dealing with the owner directly most of the time. And a lot of these guys are not really the best businesses. They're not the best kind of operators. They're just really good at what they do, and they manage to train a couple guys to work under them, and they have a good customer base, and that's making them $5 million a year, and like they're just cruising. And it's not going to have a HR department. It's not going to have all the bells and whistles that a modern company would have, but it's going to get you experience, and it's going to get you to a place where you can get experience and learn and grow. That's the direction you can go, but there's going to be way more, or I should say way less regulation. All right, so those are the 5 things to consider when you're going into the trades, and all of those different things are going to give you a good idea of, 1, which trade to go into, and 2, like, is this even cut out for you? If all those things kind of sound fire, if you kind of are a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more rah, interested in getting your hands dirty, more just, ready to attack the world, that might be a way better fit than someone who's maybe thinking, ooh, I don't know about getting my shirt dirty, man. Maybe I should just get an office job. Well, congratulations, now you know, and leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this.